Are you trying to figure out how to reduce your cholesterol? You'll find out why I'm doing air quotes in just a minute. I've just read this book that I want to share with you guys. Extremely interesting book, and I highly recommend it if you have any type of high cholesterol thing that your doctor has told you about. First of all, hi to all the new dads out there. This is Dad Reviews. This is where I give you my unedited, hopefully more authentic look at the products and places and books that I read. So if you're interested in that, you might want to consider clicking that subscribe button. So in the past, I've reviewed a couple of other books that I've talked about in regards to lowering your cholesterol here on the channel because I was told that I have high cholesterol. In fact, in the second video, the one about the book called Cholesterol Clarity, I went over my cholesterol numbers that I had just to kind of give you guys something to go by. But this book right here is called The Great Cholesterol Myth. This is why lowering your cholesterol won't prevent heart disease and the statin-free plan that will. So if you're on a statin, I've been doing a lot of research on statins these days because my doctor tried to put me on one and I was like, no, I'm not having it. I do not want to get on any kind of drug because I believe that everything in the body can be cured through nutrition. And that's what this book does have some about. This is by Johnny Bowden and Steven Sinatra, who is an MD. I think he's actually a cardiologist, if I'm not mistaken. But this book was really interesting because it goes through, one, why the numbers on a simple lipid test don't really matter. Total cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. Really doesn't tell you that much, except the triglyceride to HDL ratio might tell you a little bit of something. Other than that, if you want to know more, you need to get the more advanced lipid test. This is what I read in this book. And that gives you a particle size of your LDL. And in fact, there's even a particle size for the HDL, which I didn't even know about until I read this book. It wasn't in the other book. But the LDL is the one that most people are concerned about because you want to have the big fluffy kind that can actually travel through your body and not the hard, dense BB gun bullet kind that just fall right to your artery. And that's what causes the inflammation, which they have a whole chapter in this book about inflammation, what causes inflammation, why inflammation is what's causing your cholesterol numbers to be out of whack. Because what happens is those BB gun, it's called pattern B LDL cholesterols, they get stuck on your arteries, and that's where the plaque comes from because there's inflammation. The LDL is trying to go to the inflammation to fix it because you actually need cholesterol. In fact, your body makes 80% of cholesterol without diet. So through diet, you're only getting about 20% of the cholesterol needs. Your body makes it. So if your body is making it, you should need it, right? You don't want to try and lower it. So you just want to have the good kind, which you have to eat the right foods, and they go through the whole nutrition aspect on that in here. Highly recommend that you read it. By the way, I'll link it up down in the description below if you guys want to go and check out this book. Go read other people's reviews about it. Don't just take my word for it. Do your own research. Learn about cholesterol. But whenever you have inflammation, the LDL is coming in. Hopefully it's a big fluffy pattern A kind because that's actually going to be able to fix it. The BB gun kind's gonna, like, it's too dense, so it's gonna hit that inflammation, and what happens is that messes it up. Plaque starts to form over that. That's whenever you get the blockage, and then you have the issues there. Now, what causes this inflammation is probably not what you think it is. Most people think, oh, it's fat. You gotta stay away from fat and red meat and butter and all that type of stuff. Actually, man, from what I have learned recently, if you have good fats, like grass-fed butter and grass-fed cattle that you're getting meat from, those are the kinds of saturated fats that you need in your diet because one, they contain extra vitamins and minerals in there, but two, that's actually what your body needs whenever it's moving the cholesterol around. So very, very interesting information there. Carbohydrates is actually the one that's probably being the most inflammatory, is that a real word, to your body. And actually I watched a video about a biochemist who was giving this lecture, and he broke down what happens whenever alcohol enters the body and how your body processes it and goes to the liver and everything, and whenever its final form is. And then he did the same thing with fructose, which is just a form of sugar. It's actually in a lot of foods on the market shelves, even in some fruit and whatnot. And the fructose actually turns into the exact same thing that alcohol does. Just fructose, you're taking smaller amounts and not as fast as the alcohol is processed. So your body doesn't have the same symptoms, or your body doesn't have the same quick symptoms. The end result though is the same, which is going to be a fatty liver. Then the truth about fat, I just kind of talked about that. Then the statin scam. So another thing that I really love about this book is that this was written by a cardiologist, first of all. And so he's done some research, and they go through all of the medical publications, all the PubMed documents, all the tests and research that have been done. And they kind of basically put all the cholesterol and heart stuff in this book, and they take it test by test. This is what happened. This is what didn't happen. This is the correlation we saw. Then they do a meta-analysis, I think is what it's called. Whenever you take a bunch of tests and kind of group them together and you pick out the ones that correspond with what you're trying to get research on. And it's just to get a broader spectrum of things. And that was really interesting. All the findings that they found there that they detail in this book, very, very interesting. Then towards the end of the book, they start giving you some ideas about different supplements you can take and why these supplements are good for you, why they're good for your heart, what they do for you. That was really interesting as well. And in fact, if you are on a statin and you're not taking CoQ10, one of the things that they say here is they say rush to the store right now and go get some CoQ10. If you guys need that, I'll link it up down in the description below if you guys want to check it out. I actually take a CoQ10 just because it helps with energy production, which is the thing that your cholesterol is going to be blocking, and that's why you get so tired and foggy in the afternoons and throughout your day. It's because your body can't make energy because it needs the cholesterol to make energy, and whenever you take a statin, the statin cuts off the CoQ10 production, and because you have that CoQ10 production depletion, then your body is super tired. So big, interesting thing right there. They also go through like foods you should eat, the good foods, the bad foods, why you need this food, why you don't need this food, staying away from certain kind of fats and oils and all kinds of just a slew of information in there about that. They even go into talking about stress, which I never really thought about whenever it came to high cholesterol, but they've done some studies, they backed it up with research about how stress can affect the body and cause it to have heart issues. So that was a really interesting chapter as well. And then at the end, they have like a putting it all together chapter where it's a blueprint for what you can do to help with your cholesterol, to get it to where it needs to be, to where you're healthy and strong, all the supplements you take, all the things you need to eat, what you need to stay away from as far as foods are concerned, more foods that you want to get. So I can highly recommend this book, The Great Cholesterol Myth. Very, very interesting book. And if you guys want another great book about cholesterol, I'm going to link up the Cholesterol Clarity book that I reviewed right here. Make sure to go and click that video. I'll see y'all in that video. Very, very interesting information there as well. Thank you, dads, for watching. That thumbs up is always appreciated. Remember, if you want to check out this book, I'll link it up down in the description below along with the CoQ10. Thank y'all for watching, and Dad out.